good. We're up right now.
You ready?
Yep.
Let's go.
Well, hello, Chicago. It's time for another episode of I am your illustrious host, Justin J. Warren. Do we have an amazing show for you? I cannot wait to introduce our special guest. Tonight, we are talking about music. What is going on in the music industry? Is it for the good? Is it for the bad? We discuss tonight. What about the power of music? Why is music so important to us? We've got two music people here that are going to talk about that. Running a band, running a group. What's that like? You'll find out tonight with two people who... And of course, we are going to promote our wonderful guest, and we end every episode of the podcast with the Jacob of the Week. It's all of that on this episode of the Chicago 60. And gentlemen, it is now time for the podcast. Well, hello everybody. It is I, your illustrious host, Justin. And I am super excited to be back here with all of you. We have an amazing episode. Just like I said, we've got an amazing topic and an amazing special guest. Before we get to our special guest, I would like to introduce my wonderful, beautiful, coronavirus-free, sorry. As he called.
Am I?
But wonderfully talented and amazing person. It is, of course,
Ron Russell, I'm so happy to be here. That was such a great intro, as usual, Mr. JJ.
Thank you very much. And of course, we have our man in the booth. He's taking a fuck ton of photos right now.
Yeah, y'all got clicking back there.
It is quiet. Stormin and Norman. What's up?
Would he say something more?
Hey.
Nope, just hey it is. And of course, we got our other mystical man from another land. It is Joe Nilo.
Joe Nilo. I had to do something different since Justin whispered.
That was good. Joe knows.
Oh, I fucking love it. That is your C60 crew here tonight. And now I have the wonderful pleasure of introducing our wonderful special guest. He is an extremely talented individual. He is musically lyrical. He is lyrically musical. He is an amazing composer, songwriter, musician, pianist. I don't know all the other musicians instruments that he plays, but he is unbelievably talented. I have seen him play 5 times in concert live with his wonderful band that he started with an amazing crew called Gramps the Vamp.
That's right.
It is the man that I went to high school with at Bennett Academy, and now we're doing cool shit together. It is none other than Maxx McGathey.
What's up, everybody?
Hello. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. Happy to be here.
Fantastic. Well, it's good to have you. It's wonderful to have you here. So
what an intro, I must say.
Well, it's warranted. That's all I have to say about that. That's right. Now, before we get into our wonderful podcast and all the wonderful, crazy things that we do here today, I just wanted to let you know that our beer of the night is Kona Big Wave, a golden ale about waves that aren't golden. But it's an ale. It's an ale.
Yeah, and you just ride that wave until you can't.
So, gentlemen, cheers to that podcast. You're drinking before your cheers and rhymes. Gosh
I
darn
was
it.
already up to my lips. Sorry.
Tastes like ocean. Just kidding. Okay. Uno Mencito. Okay, so we've got an amazing episode here. In addition to the beer of the day, I'd like to let you all know that this episode is sponsored by Potholes. That's right, Potholes. Chicago, we know about potholes, and Potholes have a message for you. We're coming. Winter is ending, and we're here. You thought that you'd avoid us? No. We're here to cause your car damage, to make your phone change songs in the middle of driving, to make sure that your axle on your wheel falls off when you really needed to get to work really early that morning, and now you're going to be an hour late, and then your boss is going to yell at you, and you have to stand there and say nothing because you know that saying that you got hit by a pothole is not a valid excuse. We're here. We're going to be here when you take the bus, and then the bus gets blown out tire because you hit a pothole because the city hasn't filled it, even though they have the funds to maybe do it, or do they? Who knows? But you know what? One quick request from us: don't draw a penis. Don't draw a penis to fill us in. That doesn't make us feel good at all.
No,
just let us be there to make your life miserable. Potholes. We're here to make your life miserable. Well, thank you, Chicago Potholes. That was
Yeah, that was a.
you know what they sent us?
Penis in a pothole?
Yeah, so that was the story. So a lady actually
I
drew a
missed that
penis
one.
around the pothole, and then they came and filled it in because they didn't want to leave the penis on the street.
Oh.
So yeah, potholes don't like that either.
It got them to fill it in.
That's true. It did.
Draw more
It did.
penises.
Yeah, draw more penises.
This is a big ones.
Super big penises.
Big ones. And,
Fiery whisper.
and guess what? It says the ground is black. It's black penises.
Big black penises to fill in potholes. Okay, well, that's
Great way to start out the show.
Yeah,
know what I'm
very
saying?
good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
it's
super
that
great
kind
way. Well, you know the potholes sent us a bunch of gravel. I thought it was interesting. Thanks, potholes.
Thank you.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, after those kind words from potholes, we want to talking with our wonderful special guest. You run the band Gramps the Vamp,
Yes,
which
it is.
is fantastic. We went to Bennett Academy together. We
We
graduated the same year.
Yeah.
Joe is also a Bennett
2008.
Academy.
No
graduate.
way.
4 years our senior, by the way.
Oh, okay.
And then go Red Wings.
Go.
Dustin did not. Dustin didn't tell me this heads up, so that was cool. That was
Yeah,
nice.
I'm full of surprises. So there you go. Now, Max, you are musically talented, and I know because I've seen you perform, and we were listening to a bit of your music in the intro here. You pretty much are the main composer, or you compose all the music, and then how does that work?
I'm the main composer, but it's definitely a collaboration on,
Okay, gotcha.
on a lot of this stuff.
Gotcha. Okay, very good. But it's delightful music. I love listening to it, and I've seen you guys perform, like I said, about 5 times. It's been absolutely fantastic. So what I wanted to talk with you, since our man across from me over there, Ron, is also a very musically talented individual in the hip hop and rap game over here.
Yes.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the music industry, music in general today in America, what you're witnessing. You both involved with the music industry, but you come from a little bit of a different side of it.
True.
Running a hip hop rap group, doing a band that's got a very unique sound, and how difficult it is to navigate an industry where so many people are involved, but everybody's trying to get to a certain place to get people to listen to their music, to get inspired by the music, and then hopefully that bears a lot of fruit, as they say. So, Max, I wanted to start out asking you, in general, being in the music industry, teaching music, etc., being around musicians, running your own band, what are some trends you're noticing in the music industry today that you find are perhaps being detrimental to the expansion or the enjoyment of music listening today? Because I have some thoughts, but I want to start with you.
That's a good question. That's a deep question.
One is the democratization of music and how you don't need labels anymore. Like it's almost considered like you're almost considered a dummy to like work with a label and give away like rights and just for a little advance up front when you can really do it yourself. you know, my band Gramps the Vamp is running an Indiegogo campaign right now to make an album. That's because we don't have any label support, and quite frankly, that's okay. That's cool with us.
Really
so it's definitely a big trend in the music industry is that you can do it yourself. And the second thing that springs out of that is that you get very hyper specialized styles because you don't have to fit any kind of mold that the label is imposing on you. And again, my band is kind of a expression of that kind of freedom to just really like find a niche and stick with that. So I think it's actually really positive. I think it's really interesting hearing all of the creativity that is not being, I don't know, like filtered by labels and by the business. And it's more just like if somebody wants to make a specific kind of music that they come up with, you can do it. You can put it on social media. You can put it on Spotify. You can get it out to people.
Right.
There's a lot of challenges that come along with that, but I think it's positive.
Interesting. So, Ron, have you come across this at all? Also about, particularly in like the hip hop rap game, I feel like a lot of, I don't know, but this is me making, based on my observations, it seems like there's a lot of rappers are trying to, well, they're doing their own stuff, going to open mics and things like that. But it seems like, you know, some of the great ones have gone off on their own, but they always seem like they're either in a group of some side or of some kind, or they're trying to get with a larger recording label, like, you know, I'm trying to get with Jay-Z's label, I'm trying to get with. So is that slightly different than what Max is saying, or is there a general similar theme?
Max is, I mean, he's dead on. No one is using labels anymore. It's just not, because the label is the only thing, I mean, the label is nothing but a bank. You know, if you're smart, you would pretty much use label money for promotion, advertising. You know, you were going to the studio. No, you get this money, you know, from the label. You know, you got to record all your music, you got to promote your stuff. You know, you got to pay all. You got so many people you have to pay. And rap, hip hop, is power in numbers. Yeah. So as far as when you're saying people are looking to group and collaborate with people, it's a great way to help market yourself and also cross market the other artists if you're not necessarily in the same crew. At this point now, which is really cool with streaming, all the artists that I listen to, you know, I grew up listening to, these guys are still putting music out by themselves independently, and now they're collaborating with artists that they probably never would have before, because when you're signed to a label, you have to do what they say. Yeah, you know, you have to work things out. They have to pay those artists. You know, they have to give you the money to pay for, you know, a guest appearance and stuff like that. Now you got probably would have never worked with each other. They actually are putting full-length projects out, and they're doing it consistently. You know, I think with the streaming service, so it's a gift and a curse to streaming, because you really have to be putting up like Ed Sheeran numbers to like benefit from streaming. You know what I'm saying? Right. Or you got to really diversify yourself and be across all the platforms, you know, and still perform. Like, that is the number one way to earn money, is the live performances and your merchandise. Labels can't take that. That's all you. Streaming services are great. It helps you to get out there, you know, and that's what everyone's doing now. You know, I mean, even if you're not on a streaming service, I mean, people being discovered on SoundCloud and things like that. So you don't need a label. Yes, you have to do everything yourself, and that's why probably those that are signed to labels may be not that business savvy. You know, they know how to record music and things like that, but they don't know how to walk their dogs to go and put that music out, because it is it's music business. You know, you got to be able to do the second part, because the first part, creating, is easy. It's getting out there and pushing yourself and promoting and being, you know, the rejections and trying to sell your product in hand and stuff like that. So that's where it is right now. But I agree with Max. I mean, I feel like the only people that's on labels now are like well-established artists, or artists that have been packaged so well, they've pretty much been put together. you know, and who knows how long they're going to be signed to that label. It may be a 1-2 album deal, or they might bounce and do their own thing independently. A lot of people might take a deal, get themselves out there once that contract or they fulfill their obligations for that deal.
You brought up something I wanted to get to about like sound, and then we had another fellow on here, Elijah Burlow, who was a music singer. You, with your band, Gramps the Vamp, have a very unique niche type of music style. So for people like yourself and like other groups and bands, like the other genres that I feel like that I really like, but I feel like don't get as much of the hype. Where, other than like a SoundCloud and stuff, where do you put your music out? Where are your friends or people that you know in the industry putting out? Like, what's the promotion style that different from like what you're trying to do in kind of like this old? And the reason why I ask is because I love what the music you do and what my buddy Elijah does, and several other musicians that I know they're doing like jazz and other things like that people might enjoy, but it's just not like, I personally don't even know where to go to find it, right? So what are some of the trends for that, and like how do you feel people like yourself and other people you know that are in those genres can get out and get more listeners to this?
Well, there are blogs that, like, you know, just people that listen to music all day, put all, you know, tell you exactly what they think of the music, and just it's a locus for discovering new stuff. And I used to look at a lot more blogs to find music, but these days I've been on Bandcamp.
Sure.
And Bandcamp is amazing. Like, you can really like get it down. You can narrow the style of music you're looking for down really, really specifically. And it's very artist friendly. Like, there's a limit to how much you can, well, I think you have an option as an artist to limit how many streams before someone has to buy the album.
Yep.
So I think for us, we do like, you can listen to it 5 times, but if you like it that much, we're going to listen to it for the 6th time, send us $1 a song, you know?
Sure.
Send Max and his crew that $1.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
$1
It's just $1.
God.
Jesus.
Blunts cost more than that.
But Bandcamp's amazing, and I get their like weekly newsletter. They know everything I like, and they just send me new stuff that people are putting out. And it's some of the artists are on labels, some of them are indie labels, some of them are on no labels. It's just like about the music and about reaching out directly to the listeners. I like Bandcamp a lot.
Bandcamp, yeah, I've seen some other people using.
Shout out to Bandcamp. It's been around forever.
Yeah. So that's that seems to be a useful tool for people. Is it? I'm unfamiliar. So is it useful to, like, can you scroll around and find music? Do you find that a lot of people are actively going to these types of platforms to find music?
I feel like if anyone is on Bandcamp, they are definitely a music lover. Like, it's not going to be like your kind of person that's like every now and then they're just listening to like the top 40 stuff. They're probably not going to be on Bandcamp. A lot of artists that promote themselves and put their music out, they're definitely putting their stuff out on there. And people that follow those individual artists, they're probably on Bandcamp looking for exclusive, underground, new, cutting edge. You know, it's kind of like, it reminds me of like Pitchfork. I feel like Pitchfork is like, if you're on Pitchfork, you're bubbling. You're about to blow. You know what I'm saying? You might be Pitchfork for a couple of years, then you'll do the Lollapalooza. So I feel like Bandcamp is definitely for, like I said, you got signed artists on there, you got indie artists, you got people that aren't signed, they just pretty much doing it for themselves. But I think you have to be a real music lover if you know about that. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I wanted to ask specifically about people, artists, and very musically inclined, really good at their craft of creating music, versus like, I mean, there are some bands that have huge followings that are not like the celebrity status. So that's my question to you about that is, what are your thoughts about the music celebrity versus the true artist? Because I would consider you a true artist, because the music, I mean, that song that we were playing has, it's intricate, it's complicated.
Yes. It is.
There are movements to it.
Yes.
Whereas today there's a lot of music where it's like, the same beat
Yep.
over and over again.
Very
But those people who put out that music are like, can have like celebrity status, and people who are doing legitimate quality music, yourself, it's like, why aren't people like you more out in there, and like more people out there noticing people who are doing amazing stuff like you, like my friend Elijah, who are putting out really quality music stuff. So my question is, do you think that there's or have you witnessed a trend at all, or from being at concerts with people who are, because I know you have quite a following actually. There's a lot of people that I know who have been there. I've seen people go regular to your shows and like are supportive and everything. So I guess where I'm trying to get the crux of the question is, do you find that this kind of celebrity status of musicians and pop stars and stuff is an overall, like, is it a detriment to the art of music in some way, or is it helpful to people who are trying to make it or doing their own unique thing?
Well, I don't want to hate on anybody who like has that celebrity status, because
I'll hate on you for you if you like.
because there's a million different ways they could have achieved that.
Sure.
Maybe they had a really cool video and like that video went viral, or like maybe people just like their music so much that they have just such enthusiastic fans that they are on that level. But yeah, I don't think it like negatively affects like other artists that don't have that celebrity. I mean, with us, like we're an instrumental band, so like there's always going to be like that like limit to like the audience, and we're aware of that, and we still enjoy what we do. And there's instrumental bands that are
when you say a limit to your audience, do you mean like a cap, like
gonna be like on MTV and
Gotcha.
like, you know what I mean, like
I see what you're saying.
Right.
which is okay. I mean,
Yeah, which is fine. But kind of my point also.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, no offense about the rap game, whatever.
Oh,
There's a lot of great rappers and stuff like that.
None taken.
But I do feel like sometimes it's just I don't know what the right term is. I can think of it, but basically like recycled. Yes, like a recycling of artists. Like, here's the one, they do this type of music, and then they come and here's the next guy, and he kind of does the exact same thing. So, and then there's like music like what Maxx people are doing that I'm listening to, and I'm like, damn, this is like quality stuff. Like, there is a whole genre called indie music and all the different genres.
Now, to piggyback off what you're saying, as far as like commercial goes, commercial, and I always say hip hop / rap, because it's a fine line at this point. A lot of people be claiming hip hop, but I don't see no hip hop elements in your song. I don't hear it, I don't see it, I don't feel it. So I'm calling it rap. You got a lot of music, a lot of rap music out. This seems like, oh man, I've seen this guy before. I've heard this stuff. I've heard it before. But there are a ton of artists that are incredible and incredibly unique, lyrical, and everything, and they're not getting the shine that they should get. It's the same thing, about Maxx, and so it goes both ways. It just all depends on what it is that what you're into. You got a lot of people that pretty much generate, or they dominate the charts, and a lot of people like them. Like, oh, I'm done with it. But something with some substance, some meat on it, I can ride out to that for some time.
Mm-hmm. I would say though that the way that artists can just directly reach their fans, this kind of goes back to your like first question.
Sure.
With all of social media,
yes, that's true,
and all that stuff, like
it's beneficial.
Like, it kind of like doesn't matter as much anymore if you have that celebrity status, because like in the past, what that meant was people would you would find an audience. But now I think you can find an audience like on the internet. You can, and you just have to smartly market yourself and like make it clear what you're doing, and put yourself out there on the right channels. And I mean, there's a whole host of questions and minutia that goes into that. But I think it is like a positive time for people that aren't looking to be that like next celebrity artist, but are just trying to like make something creative and
Well, like
different.
there's a lot of people who have made it who are YouTube famous. Like I mean, Justin Bieber is a great example. Billie Eilish is a great example. They were just putting out music.
Taylor Swift.
And I mean, yeah, and then they, you know.
I didn't know Billie Eilish. I didn't know she was discovered on YouTube.
I don't know if it was YouTube, but I can't say, but I heard through the grapevine.
Okay.
She put out some music and people.
She's killing it right now. Like,
yeah, I mean, and she's very young.
She's very young.
Very young. So and I mean, so was Justin Bieber when he
comes from a
started
musical
out.
family too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, is that do you find, Max, that a lot of people are going, particularly the people you may know, are going that route to putting out their music in that way, or do you find there's more of like I'm doing this for the art of it. I love making music. What happens will happen. Or do you find that people are really very in tune to the marketing aspect of what they're doing? Because you know what I mean. Because there's kind of like the stereotype of like the artsy musicians. Like, yeah, man, I'm just gonna make music and you know, like a barista, you know, very very fancy barista at a coffee shop.
Right.
And then there's some people who are like, no, I want to be famous and blah blah. So do you find like there are people like that you work with or whatever, or
I've met a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that there's nothing wrong with trying to reach an audience. You know, there's nothing wrong with trying to reach out and get more people to come to your shows, get more people to buy your music, get more people to stream your music. There's definitely not any kind of selling out quality to doing that. I think that old paradigm of selling out to the commercial industry is kind of just doesn't apply anymore.
It really doesn't. There's no rules. There's no rules anymore.
Yeah.
There's no rules.
It's just about I think of my music as like a business and like, all right, how can I keep this going? How can I make it so that it provides enough of a return so that I can keep doing it?
Right.
That's essentially what comes.
I find this. I think there can be an interesting conundrum niche but that niche can exist anywhere in the world. And when you have a specific genre or a specific type of music, and when people are able to search and find like this like ultra specific thing that they're looking for, you're going to build an audience. You can build a pretty big audience, but they're going to come from all over the world. But still, as a musician, your ultimate success, at least monetarily, is always going to come from live shows. So how do you battle that conundrum? And do you have an audience that is international?
We do, actually. That was a really exciting thing to discover, is when we started selling records on Bandcamp. People, like, every now and then we get an order. I mean, it really is such a intentionally like niche type of music that I think people just found it. And what was your initial question?
Well, I guess the way I'm imagining this, and you can correct me, but I'm imagining that you could, as an artist, you can end up with a pretty large audience on the internet, but that audience would be scattered throughout the world.
Right.
And then you find, traditionally you want to do shows and build an audience close to where you live, and you slowly expand outward geographically. But having a audience around the world, it can be hard to where do you play your shows at?
Yeah. Trying to figure out how to do it. I don't know. I think that, so we have toured. We've done like 4 or 5 tours, like long tours, but then have done a lot of Midwestern, like weekend here, weekend there in different cities. And we reach a lot of people that way organically. But I don't know. I would hope that the people in Italy and France that find our music, if we ever had a chance to go out there, we could make a tour work that way. So I think from my perspective, our strategy is just to people wherever they are. And also we make vinyl records, like a physical product. So there is something for people overseas to purchase.
Vinyl, which is great. Yeah. That's a great segue, because I actually wanted to start talking about, Yeah, which is a unique thing that your band specifically is doing. And I mean, vinyl and records are a trend coming back with the millennial generation.
It's been
very
coming,
popular.
It's been coming back and forth.
And you can get
hipsters and everybody. Yeah.
Right, and you can get a very clear, wonderful sound from that also.
That's the best sound.
Yeah, it is.
Rich.
I mean, it really is. So that's really nifty.
Mm-hmm.
I love that on your Indiegogo page you've got the you spend $666 into the backwards message on a that is actually
it's actually not a backwards message. It's etched.
Oh, it's etched in.
on the side.
Okay. Gotcha. Either way, it's still hilarious.
But yeah.
But that is very funny.
That's a fun number to use.
Yes.
Very fun.
Yeah. But what I wanted to briefly move into is specifically about being in music, but you've got a lot of bands. So you've got groups like hip hop groups, collectives, where it's a bunch of individual rappers that come together in a part group. But then you're running an actual band, which has got
You got a real band.
Which has got saxophone players and trumpet players, drummer, bass, guitar, piano. Is being a band trying to get your music out different than a solo artist? Because we here have just to relate it to what we're doing and comedy and stuff, each individual person here, like I could be a stand-up. I don't do stand-up anymore, but like if I was a stand-up comic, I'm a stand-up. Ron's an actor. Norm is an improviser. Joe's Joe. But we all do individual stuff, right? But collectively, we're a unit. We're a team, and we have different roles and responsibilities. So for a band, because it seems to me that you kind of have started to run the majority of the band, et cetera, but you've got all these other components. So what's it like being a band trying to navigate the industry and find that niche versus being kind of like a solo artist? I feel you both kind of run, so I'm going to throw that out to both of you. I'd like just to hear what it took, and maybe we can find some interesting similarities and differences. We mesh those together.
Well, I've always been in bands. I don't. I've done very little under just my name. I have some composing, some film composing and stuff like that under my name. But yeah, I think so. The band, the experience of having a band has been part of my music experience for many years.
Yes, I do recall in high school.
I had a high school band. And many people.
Yeah.
But so how's it different? I don't know if I really can compare it too much. But I will say that when I talk to artists we're a 7-piece band. When I talk to artists that are like a 3 or a 2-piece, like a duo or something, and we talk about running a crowdfunding campaign like we're doing right now on Indiegogo, they're like, yeah, that's just not possible for us because we only have we're only 2 people and our network is less than a band with 7 people. And it's true, it has given us a little bit of an advantage to have 7 people, so there's a lot more of an organic outreach to our network, and so that's a positive. On the flip side, there's some challenges as well. It sounds so mundane, but scheduling. We can't get together as often. We can't get to if I was a solo artist, I could work on my stuff whenever I want.
Right.
And I do a lot of writing on my own for the band, but to actually get everybody together I've learned over the years that we have to plan ahead.
Yeah.
You have to plan this rehearsals a month ahead. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's some challenges and some advantages, I would say.
Yeah.
Ron, what about you? Because I know you've, based on what Max is saying, I know you've been involved in.
Our group. It was a handful of us. It was like 6 of us. Okay, and that is I totally understand what Max